guys. Hi, everybody. So I recognize some of the faces. So here's what I would like to do. First of all, just nod if you can hear me. So I'll make sure everybody here. Okay, perfect. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to take over the screen soon and kind of speak about you. But this is really going to be a discussion. Sue asked me to speak with you. I'm her husband, but beyond that, I've managed numerous companies. And hold on, there's someone asking to admit. Did you switch me to a host, Sue? Because someone just, okay, perfect. So, I've managed many businesses, and I've done a lot of things with them. And the idea is to share with you a little bit today, what does it take from my perspective? Nothing I say actually is the truth. It's just my take on things. And you can challenge it and question it. What does it take to be an entrepreneur? What's the major keys that in the 20-year of experience I had got me to where I am? So as Sue said before, a little bit of background. So I'm originally from Israel, and you probably can hear the accent once in a while in a conversation. And Sue and I don't know if you know the story, but Sue and I actually met as we were both actors many years ago. So I was an actor, and then when I was 28 years old, I said, I'm tired of waiting tables between shows, so I'm going to do something completely different. And I started real estate, and the intention was that maybe every 2, 3, 4 years we'll buy one house together. So then my girlfriend, now my wife, when we discussed it. We took it from there, and then we bought 18 properties in the first 2 years, and I found real estate as a passion, and I was involved in many other businesses. And et cetera. So I'll tell you more information about it. At any moment, if you have any questions or comments, please either write it in the bottom, or better just kind of say, hey, I want to ask questions. And I'm going to do a small presentation, then I'm going to open it to discussions. I'm also really encourage you and invite you to ask and say whatever you want to say, okay? Because I can only share my take on things and my experiences based on what's important to you. And some of you, I don't know. I know you come from many businesses. I recognize, I think, 3 or 4 people in my team, but I'm the rest of you, I don't know. So ask questions, challenge, and let's do it, okay? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take over the screen with your permission. Excellent. All right, cool. So here we go. Oh, so entrepreneur. What is entrepreneur? Anyone can say, can anyone jump in and kind of tell? There's no right or wrong answers here. This is a discussion. So what do you think is an entrepreneur? Who would like to? You can unmute yourself and just speak. No answers? Is it because I'm muting you all, or so am I controlling the muting?
You can, but
no, I don't want to. Okay, perfect. Okay, so as long as I hear
can
you.
mute themselves.
So who would like to give it a shot? Doug, I'm going to pick on you because you have a nice smile. So Doug, go for it. So what do you think is an entrepreneur?
I think it's someone who could like create a product or be a successful business person and, you know, travel around. That's like kind of my very basic idea.
Okay, good. Anyone else? That's quite a good answer. I think what you answered was actually a successful entrepreneur, right? So entrepreneur is actually someone who just creates enterprises. It basically create business. So if you are someone who opens a business and manages it successfully or unsuccessfully, most entrepreneurs are not successful. I'm going to repeat what I just said. Most entrepreneurs are not successful. It's okay to not be successful. If you're an entrepreneur, the whole point is just how can you move from first failure to the next success, or from one success to the other success. But entrepreneur is someone who actually builds the businesses. Anyone else? How do they see if someone says to you, I'm an entrepreneur, what comes to mind?
Someone who's an entrepreneur also takes risk to start the new business rather than going into something that's fully developed.
Awesome. That's really great. So entrepreneur, definitely part of it will be the risk tolerance, right? So how much risk can you deal with? Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind as we're speaking, as we're going through. So here's the 8 pillars of what a successful entrepreneur is from my perspective. Okay, so the first thing is, here's a question. There's a list of, I don't know how many, probably 30 something different companies on the screen. So UPS and Ferrari and DSW and GE and many, many ones that you probably recognize. What would you guess is the common thing to all those companies? Give it a shot. Anyone? There's no right answer. Noah Sparrow, I'm going to pick on you. You're going to give the answer because I'm sorry. You work so closely, I got to pick on you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. I'm guessing by the context that they were all started by specific entrepreneurs.
Good try. It makes sense, But all companies start with by entrepreneurs. I mean, rarely you have a company started by another company. Actually, it's more common now because we have a good glamorous of huge international companies. But all companies generally, or I would say, I'm just guessing, 90-95% of companies. So it's not exactly. Anyone else want to give it a shot? It's true. They're all established through entrepreneurship. That's not. There was one more thing that is common to all those companies. Anyone else want to give a shot? And I just threw Noah under the bus. So she went through it. So who would like to give it a shot? Maggie, why don't you do it?
Maybe they started something that had never been done before, like it's a completely unique idea.
Okay, very good, excellent. All right, so let me give you the answer, okay? And Maggie, that makes sense. So all those companies started during crisis, major financial crisis, either depression or a major recession. Okay, why am I saying it? Because I want to keep the conversation today inside the context. It's successful. It's easier to be successful when things going well. So one of the reasons why Sue and I were successful in real estate in the early 2000s, we started early, we started in 99, but in the early 2000s is because we had a very strong wind that worked for me. So basically, I'll give you another, I manage a large real estate company in Brooklyn in 2011 to 2017. But I'm thinking if you're a monkey and you bought real estate in Brooklyn in 2012, you made a lot of money. So it's very easy to say I'm a successful entrepreneur when things go well, because it goes everything is available. Credit is available, debt is available, equity is available. All those things. So it's easy, right? But look at those huge companies, LG, DSW, CoverGirl, Sony, UPS, all those Whole Foods, all those companies started doing major depressions or recession. So why? Because an entrepreneur sees an opportunity when people don't see an opportunity. So actually in the midst of the problems, right now we're dealing with a major international problem. In the midst of the trouble, this is the best time to start a company, because if you survive this time, then when things are good, obviously, you're going to be solid, and there's less competition, right? So as companies are collapsing or companies are dealing with the huge headache of what they inherited because of the crisis, you are free to start something new, okay? So let's talk about the next thing. Just see what, yep, here we go. So why not to be, okay? So you shouldn't be an entrepreneur if you want a comfortable life. So entrepreneurship is not easy. It's extraordinary. It's fascinating. It makes life great if you're successful, but it's not easy. So if you're someone, and again, there's no judgment in what I'm saying. Not everybody is designed or excited about being an entrepreneur. If someone who wants a comfortable life, you should not open a business. I was speaking with someone a few days ago, and I asked her. She said she wanted to open a business. I said, "Why do you want to open a business?" She's like, "Because I hate my job." Well, that's a good answer, but it's not sufficient, because the amount of challenges and the amount of ups and downs you're going to go through as an entrepreneur. If you just hate your job and you say, I'm going to open a business because I don't like what I'm doing right now, you're not going to survive. You're not going to have the ability to go through through tough times. So if that's not good enough, you got to have a real passion and something burning inside of you that push you to open a business. So if you want a comfortable life, don't be a business owner. Don't be an entrepreneur. If you're scared easily, if you're always worried about what's going to happen, what if I lose everything, etc., this is not a good thing for you. You should get a comfortable. In today's, you'll go to great colleges and you can get a comfortable job in the next few years and grow and climb up the corporate ladder. And that might be a thing to you. You'll work for non-for-profit or for small businesses. That's completely okay. If you want to own your own business, it's a different thing. You cannot be scared. Now, what does not being scared means? It doesn't mean that you don't have the experience of being scared. Someone who's brave is someone who operates in the face of fear. It's not like if you have no fear, you're basically numb. You're either dead or disconnected from emotions. That's unrealistic. Everybody is scared sometimes in their lives. The entrepreneurs are scared often, there's many nights, especially when my company was going the wrong direction, my company was collapsing, the large company I was managing, there was many nights I missed sleep. But I go and operate in the face of fear, beyond my fear. That's what not being scared, not having no feelings about it. Okay. The other thing is, if you're also a very pessimistic person, you always see the empty half of the cup. That's also something that's going to be against you. Now, it doesn't mean you cannot train yourself to change this attitude and kind of look at the upside and the optimistic side of life. But if you're someone who's naturally leading and saying, "Oh, that's going to not turn out. Things are going to be really bad. The world's going, towards a really bad thing," you're going to have a much harder time being an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs that I know, that I'm reading about, that I personally experienced, and obviously me, we always think things are going to get better. Sometimes they don't, but we always look at the opportunity. Okay. One of the differences between a bank, for example, and an entrepreneur is that entrepreneurs manage opportunities. So you say, what is the opportunity? Banks manage risks. So they always look at what the worst going to happen. That's why they give you a lower mortgage, that they'll give you less debt, et cetera, et cetera. So they're saying, what's the risk that we have to manage? As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you're going to look at what's the opportunity. Different way of looking at the world. Not good or bad, just very different. Okay? Any questions? Should I keep on going? All right, I'm going to keep on going because no one's saying anything. Okay, so like we said earlier, risk taking. So actually, the picture you see right here is actually my daughter who just turned on, our daughter who just turned on 18, and I couldn't find Sue's picture, but both Sue and Noah, our daughter, jump off a plane, 4 days ago, Sue, something like that? So they did skydiving. So that's risk taking. Now, that doesn't mean that you're someone who's completely insane, because risk taker is a calculated risk. You understand that the risk in what you're doing. You're not insane. You're not jumping off a roof, right? But you're saying that if I want to have this experience, whether it's skydiving, being your own boss, making much more money than if you're climbing the corporate ladder, then you have to understand that risk is involved in it. Risk, if you don't expect and you're worried about risk, there's no way you'll be able to be an entrepreneur. Not just a successful one, but just an entrepreneur. Because if you open a coffee shop, if you start a startup, technology, if you start real estate, in fashion, and whatever you're doing, there will be risk involved. You have to understand that it's part of the design of it. So when it comes your way with the fear of taking a risk, and I'm sure Sue can share with you later, but I'm sure there was moments when both she and Noah, when they jump off the plane on Sunday, they were scared, but they realized there's someone professional with them that can, protect them and help them going through the skydiving. Also, so there was a calculated risk, okay? And they went beyond their fears. So again, I'm going to keep on saying, if you do not expect fear or do not expect risk, you are disconnected from the fundamental needs of entrepreneurs. All right? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You want to ask yourself, what happened if it will not work out? So one of the things you want to do if you're looking into opening a business, whether now or in the future, you got to really write down what's going to happen if it's not going to work out. What's the worst thing that can happen? The worst going to happen is you can declare bankruptcy. The worst going to happen is you move back with your parents. Maybe you're going to be 25, 30 years old. The worst going to happen that you're going to lose people's money that invested with you and trusted you. That's the worst thing. But the moment you make a list of all the worst things that can happen, actually you're going to realize it's not that bad. I'm not saying you want that. I'm not saying you want to lose people's money. I'm not saying that you're going to be excited about moving back with your parents if really you lose everything you built. But it comes with another question, okay? What will happen if it will work out? And then it's a calculation. What's more important to you? Is the fear of what's going to happen if it's not going to work out is more powerful than actually how it's going to work out? Then you should not be an entrepreneur. But if you say, yes, I'm taking a risk, and the worst thing, I'm going to lose all the money, I'm going to have to start from scratch in my mid-30s because I lost everything. Okay, but if it's going to turn out, if my company is going to work out, then I'm going to be as impactful as I want to be, as wealthy, as, you know, as generous, whatever the thing that drives you, that's what's going to be. And that's the question you're going to ask yourself. Okay, so entrepreneurs must work hard. Anyone knows who's in the picture?
Henry Ford?
Yes, very good. Who was that? I didn't see the screen, but whomever gave the answer, thanks for the answer. So yes, that's Henry Ford. So not only that he worked extremely hard and he created Model T and he changed completely the way we build cars, he also worked smart. So he built the assembly line. He's the first one to create the assembly line, and that's really critical. So it's not just about working hard. Now, people love to say, oh, don't work hard, work smart. No, you got to work both hard and smart, okay? That's critical. That's important, that you're going to work very hard. If you want to work 5 days a week and you want to travel and you want to have fun and you want to go home at 5 p.m., entrepreneurship is not for you. Again, I'm going to keep on repeating what I'm saying. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. Not everybody have to be business owners. There will be time when you're going to be working till on the weekends or till late, but there'll be moments a few years later, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, that you'll be able to travel and take as many vacations as you want, and no one's going to tell you what to do because you work so hard during the beginning of the business. So, and no one ever counted my vacation days because, first of all, I was my own boss. So the only reason I took X amount of vacation only is because I was responsible for the large team that used to work for me, but not because a boss or because the policy of the company was like you're only allowed to take 2 weeks. So there's benefits, but obviously you have to do a lot of work, hard and smart in the beginning. Okay, so why is the screen not working? Hold on. Oh, here we go. So find a problem worth your time. So successful, I mean, I'm assuming you know who's in the picture, right? So very powerful female entrepreneur, and very powerful, the richest guy in the world. I read this morning that his value, even though he got divorced last year, and even though COVID actually went up, especially because of COVID, and now as of now, Jeff Bezos is worth $171 billion. But they took on resolving huge problems. So a successful business is a business that answers a problem. So if you wake up in the morning and you say, "Oh, I have a problem with your business," and that's a bad thing, then you don't understand how businesses work. Because businesses' job is to resolve problems. And you can, when I say business, I'm also counting inside non-for-profit. So your quote unquote entrepreneurial spirit can come to a non-for-profit you're very passionate about. So you must solve a big problem where there's media in a new world with the internet. That's what Huffington Post is. Or something like logistics, et cetera, Amazon resolving. So your job as an entrepreneur is to solve problems, and therefore find a problem that is worth your time. Find a problem that is so big and so exciting that makes you jump out of bed in the morning. If you find small problems, you're going to have a small game to play. And entrepreneurship is one big game. So you must have something that gets you out of bed, gives you a hard time because you're so excited about it, gives you a hard time going to bed, and it's so big you want to take it on. Now, whatever big is for you, you might say, My problem is that I live in this neighborhood and there's no great coffee in that neighborhood. And that's a problem for me, my friends, my neighbors. I'm going to open the best coffee shop in wherever you're living, right? That's a problem worth your time. I'm not saying what's a good problem or bad problem, but it has to be something that is big enough and bigger than you, something that cannot be resolved within a minute. Okay, so, I was in real estate for 20 years now. It moved into prop tech, which is property tech. It's a new world. And people used to ask me, what's the most important thing about real estate? And the usual answer is location, location, location. And I strongly disagree with that, okay? I say about real estate, I say about every business, people, people, people. There's no way you will be able to be successful without the right people around you. Hopefully, the people around you are smarter than you. You might be extremely smart about choosing the right people around you. But if you listen to CEOs, successful entrepreneurs, they will tell you, my team is smarter than me. So you want to say, so if you're being managed by egos and by, I got to be the smartest person in the room, then you're going to surround yourself with mediocre people. Mediocre people are going to give you mediocre result solution. You can ask Bram, who's actually on the call with us, who's not an intern. He used to work with me for many, many years now. He's back working with me in the mass. And one of the answers he hated, but he loved when we worked together, and I used to say to him, come back with a solution, not with a problem. I understand your problem, come up with a solution. And then we worked out together when he had it, because of the different way of thinking, right? So when he came with a solution, then we worked it out. There was maybe a good solution, maybe I had a different one, maybe we agreed, but think from a solution. If I didn't trust Bram, I wouldn't tell him that. So if I didn't surround myself with people that I trust and that are smarter than me in some things and know better than me, I will never be successful. If you see the picture upstairs on the top, that's Bill Gates and Paul Allen, who started Microsoft. And when you listen to how they speak about each other, you realize that there's no way they would have been successful with Microsoft without supporting each other and being extremely smart and surrounding themselves with smart. So, repeating what I'm saying, people, people, people. If you want to be successful, you must surround yourself with extraordinary people. Extraordinary people will lead you to extraordinary results. Mediocre and average people are going to lead you to average results. Average results don't work. We live in such a competitive world that is so challenging. There's a global economy. Someone, can come up with a solution to what you're doing in China, in India, in Vietnam, in Romania. If you're not really smart and really good, you're not going to be successful. And therefore, the people around you must be part of the team and pull it together. Okay, so hunger. This is the first iPhone in the picture. Some of you weren't even born when the iPhone came out. But the reality is that there's a huge entrepreneurs have huge hunger. Some people call it drive, but I think it's more than a drive. It's this need to be successful, need to have extraordinary results. I mean, Steve Jobs is one of the extreme examples of someone who did not compromise. He didn't care about the cost. He didn't care about how long it's going to take, how much time. He cared about perfections. In his mind, the phone or the iTunes product or the Mac itself, the computers had to be perfect. He had this ongoing hunger inside of him that did not let him rest until he got the best product that he can produce. So you got to have, so if you're looking at a business, again, it doesn't matter if it's a coffee shop, a non-for-profit, or a huge technology or real estate company or banking company that you want to establish, if you don't have this hunger that is keeping you alive, excited, thrilled, worried, you speak about it, you breathe it, you think about it, you read everything, then you don't have it. And again, not a bad thing. Just let it go get a good job, and you can have a very, very comfortable life. A lot of people around Sue and I constantly ask us, how do you guys deal with all that pressure because you own so many businesses? And we say, for us, it's a thrill. It's a big game. That there's moments when we're really upset about it, and there's moments where we're really celebrating our successes and our success, our accomplishments. But it's this hunger inside of us that is driving us to do it. We don't have a choice in the matter. That's who we are. So drive and hunger is critical. Flexibility. So here's two pictures, right? So I kind of look like, so if you are rigid, then you're going to, when the winds come, and we spoke earlier, and I'm going to keep on mentioning because it's fundamental part of your entrepreneur's life. So think about, if you're playing basketball, if you say to yourself, I will never lose, then you are insane, literally. You are not connected with reality. If you want to win in every game you're playing, I say that to my kids often, go play with a 5-year-old kid in a basketball court, right? My daughter's 18, I have another daughter who's 16, and they can go to the playground and pick up a 5-year-old and say, let's play basketball. They're going to win every game against that person, right? It's probably going to become very boring very fast for them. But can you imagine if LeBron James or, Michael Jordan would say, I never lost a game or never will lose a game? That's crazy, because they understand that part of their growth, part of their winning is losing. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to give everything they have on the court to win that game, but they understand it's part of the game. In big games like the NBA, you will be losing some of the games. The reality of it, in entrepreneurship, there will be times when you are losing, when you actually lose money, lose investors, lose deals, lose sleep, everything. It's part of the game. And if someone says to me, oh, well, I failed, so I'm not going to start again. Okay, you are disconnected from reality. You think like someone who's thinking they're not going to lose in basketball. So flexibility is one of the key elements to dealing with losing the game. Because if you look at the tree on the right side, a very big storm came, and it was a very solid, big tree, and it fell because it couldn't sustain the wind. But actually, bamboo are very flexible, so it can deal with snow, with rain, with wind, with summer, everything, because they're flexible. Successful companies are extremely flexible. If you look at non-flexible companies, you'll see after a few years they fail. Look at Sears. Here's a good example. The world of change, right? It was, if look at your grandparents' age, they bought everything on Sears in the 50s. Everything. The Sears catalog, Sears stores, everything was bought on Sears. They were the Amazon of their time. But as the world changed and the world became more global and the internet took over, they have not adjusted their business plan, and therefore they didn't develop the flexibility. The same with cars. Look, the most valuable company right now in the world is Tesla. Tesla is a flexible company. They're doing something that we've been doing for 120 years, 130 years. They're building cars. Why they worth that much? It's true that's a very sexy stock, and therefore it's worth that much money. But they don't make so many cars. I mean, Ford makes more cars, Toyota makes more cars, Volkswagen makes more cars, but they're most valuable. Why? Because they showed flexibility. They understood the world is going a particular way, electric cars, et cetera, and that's why. So if you open a company or if you open a business, you must from the beginning develop the muscles of flexibility. How can I adjust the market, and I can adjust my product, and I adjust my people to be moving with things, because the markets will change all the time, especially if thinking long term. Okay, imagination. So obviously you know who's in the picture, I'm assuming, right? So you probably recognize Mickey first before Walt Disney, but both of them, imagination. I mean, every time we go to Disney, and I personally don't like Disney, because after the 4th time I realized, okay, I got it, let's not. But my family will go every 3 months if they can. It is extraordinary, because this person had this image, this imagination, this vision, and he did whatever he had to do to bring that imagination to life. And it doesn't matter whether you love Disney or doesn't love Disney. If you go to Disneyland, the Disney World, you'll be blown away, or you are blown away by the commitment to imagination, the ability to imagine something so big that is, way beyond something that is already existing in the world, all right? So see the future the way you want to see it. That's what imagination is, not how the world is. So if people tell you, oh, no, it's not going to be successful. We just listened to a great podcast where we drove in the car 2 days ago from How I Build It, which is a great podcast if you want to be an entrepreneur. And the person who built Duolingo. Duolingo is worth $1.5 billion, the company right now. And when he started, people told him, oh, there's Rosetta Stones. Why are you even bothering with teaching people, with teaching people language? Rosetta Stone is controlling it. And now he has more users by far than Rosetta Stones. And the company is worth $1.5 billion because he saw the future the way he wanted to see it, not the way other people want to see it. And it's constantly going to happen. You know, when Sue and I started in real estate, we were both actors. Actually, as Sue mentioned in the email yesterday, I dropped out. I went to Hunter College for philosophy, and about 20 credits from the end, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to continue. So I actually never graduated from college, even though I'm part of the MBA program at Harvard. I teach at NYU grad school now. But we just stopped. I stopped going to college. And when I said, okay, we want to do real estate, I would say 99% of people around us said, you know what, you should have. You didn't get an MBA. You're not really a business owner. You're an actor. Why do you want to go into real estate? That's insane. Listen to the 1% that likes what you're creating, that like the imagination, the world you see it. Don't listen to people putting you down. If you ask 10 of your friends and they'll say, oh, this is a stupid idea. Well, if all 10 of them says you should reconsider the business plan, I'm not saying don't do it. Just look at where's the things that make people go like, I'm not sure it's a good idea. But if 8 of them say, you should not do it, it's because 80% of the people probably are not entrepreneurs, not probably, they're not entrepreneurs, and they're worried about the risk. They don't look at what's the opportunity. So imagination. Passion. 2 people are extremely passionate. I mentioned, Tesla earlier, but Tesla is just one of the things. I mean, you want to hear about being confronting. Elon Musk was just celebrating, I think 2 days ago, his 49th birthday. I saw on Twitter or something, right? So he's basically my age. I'm 48, right? And look at him and look at me. So it's very confronting to an entrepreneur to see someone who dreams so big and has such a huge passion, and he just goes for it. He just goes for what he loves and he sees big problems. Oh, traffic is a problem? No problem. I'm going to dig tunnels under California to resolve the problems with traffic. Oh, we have a problem with, space? No problem. I'm going to build my own company. I'm going to bring my own NASA. And I'm going to send satellites to space. Oh, we have, a problem with the environment. No problem. I'm going to be the most successful car company in the world that makes only electric cars. That's what passion is. Curry, who's a player in the NBA, if you don't know, I'm assuming you do. Passion is the key to his success. He's not built to be the best player in the league, and he was for a few years the best player in the league. He's not. He's too short. He's too thin. He's not built. But he was obsessive about his passion. He practiced 3-point throws every day, thousands of times a day until he got it perfectly. His success statistics are mind-blowing because you realize he's not like LeBron James, not a huge guy. He cannot go under and succeed catching the ball every time. He's not tall enough. So he just completely transformed the way people play basketball by shooting it from far because his passion was, I'm going to be the best player. So I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions because I'm talking way too much. So comments, questions, anything, and if not, I'm going to keep on going. Anyone? Thoughts that you had as things progressed? What's the thought you had? What examples you had? And if you don't, that's okay too. So I'm assuming you're so fast and I'm going to keep on going, okay? I'm going to leave Q in Indian. So let me go and share the screen again. All right, so passion. Another pillar is be your word. What does that mean? Being your word is basically your integrity, like saying what you're going to do and actually doing it. Now, it's not always going to happen. So you cannot do everything you say. It's impossible because if I tell Maggie, I'm going to meet you at 1 o'clock, and then I get stuck on the subway and I'm going to show up at 1:30. I'm not being my word. I told her I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock, and then it's 1:30 when I show up, right? But it's honoring your word. So the moment I know I'm not going to make it on time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the phone or text her and say, Maggie, I'm running half an hour late. The subway has a problem. I'm so sorry. I'll make it 1:30. Okay. That's what being your word is. It's not about having a perfect life. It's not about saying everything I'm going to say is exactly going to happen, because in life, things going to happen. Things you don't like going to happen. There'll be challenges. The time you're going to mess up. Being your word is critical, which means you honor what you're saying. You do the best you can to actually do what you're saying. And then if it doesn't happen, you clean up right away. So I always tell my team, if you mess up and you didn't wake up on time for the call, the early Saturday morning call, or you forgot, no big deal, as long as you clean up. Now, if you don't show up on a call 5 times, we have a problem because you're not being your word at all. But we understand also that people sometimes going to have challenges that are beyond their control, and they can't control. But be your word. You say something, you say, you point to where you want to go, and they say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to honor that promise to me and to my investors, to my partners, to the people, to your family, whomever you promise to, okay? So here's an example of people who are going to be their word. First of all, it's you. You got to have a relationship with yourself. So when you say you're going to do something, you're actually going to do that. Here's a few other people who say they're going to be their word. A huge entrepreneur, Oprah, who built this conglomerate of media and completely transform the way we interact with media, the way we interact with women, the way we interact with African Americans, women especially. So really transform. And what she built a brand on is being accessible, being her word, being honest. Okay, obviously, Mahatma Gandhi had a million opportunities to pick violent fights against the British in India. And he said, no, my word is that we're going to resist the British without shooting, without going to the street, but without having a war, a civil war or a war against Britain. And I'm going to do it. And he was sticking with his word. If you haven't seen the movie about Gandhi, you must. I think it's now a 30-year-old movie, but you see it. It's brilliant. You can really see how people came to him and said, there's moments where enough is enough. Let's pick up rifles. Let's start, shooting those British. And he's like, no, my word is the key to it. Obviously, Nelson Mandela, the same thing. He was his word over 20 years of being in prison. Being your word is critical. So it starts with you. You are no different than those people. It depends on what the problem they want to solve. Remember, if you go back to what we looked at earlier, and what's the problem they want to solve? Those people that you see on the screen, including you, are people who took on a huge problem to solve. And then they honor the word inside that commitment to solve that problem. Okay, so that's it. These are the 8 pillars that I believe you need to be an entrepreneur. It is, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. It is not easy to be a business owner. It's not comfortable to be a business owner, but it's extraordinary. And who the hell wants an easy life? I mean, we do want easy time sometimes, right? But I think it's extremely boring. Life is so precious, and we're here for, who knows, some of us will not be here tomorrow. Cross the street, a bus comes, and that's it. So as you close your eyes, whether you're 95 years old or 19 years old, because life gave you whatever at the end of your life, okay, you want to look back and say, I had an extraordinary life. Not I had an easy life. I don't think that people want to say, oh, I had a very easy life. There's moments where you want easy, but that's not who we are. And that's not what you also chose to be an entrepreneur. And but the fact that you took an internship on, you are an entrepreneur, both under different businesses, whether Larry's business, Sue's business, my business, you chose to be part of a community of entrepreneurs. And that's what it's going to take. So I really, if I can give you a blessing, I would say, have an extraordinary, challenging life, not an easy life. Easy is, boring. That's it. So questions, comments, anything, personal questions, business questions, philosophies, I want to hear from you. We have time. I want to open to more of a discussion. Yes, no.
I always think it's interesting to ask people who've been running their own businesses and doing a lot of work for a long time. If you could talk about maybe a big mistake you made and how it impacted you.
Sure. So I've done a million mistakes. The only job you have is to have 1,000,001 successes, because Churchill said that It's the speed from where you move from a failure to a failure. So I've done a million mistakes. I'll give you, and actually I'm proud of them. So I'm proud to some degree because I learned from them and moved on. I'm not proud because I won. It's not like I caused those mistakes on purpose. One big mistake is, and sometimes it's external things. For example, in 2008, the real estate crisis happened, and we weren't ready. So my company basically lost everything we had, and it took us about 2 years to get back on our feet. And then out of that crisis, I created a much, much bigger company called Brooklyn Capital, and I ran for 7 years, and it was a very successful company. And then I over leveraged it. So I had an opportunity to take it public. It was probably literally 100 times smaller than any other company went public on real estate. And I said, I'm going to take it public. And I knew it's a huge risk. And I played full on. It was extraordinary 5 years. And then it completely blew up in my face. So, and the most upsetting thing for me was about sending 52 employees home and investors who gave money and did not see the money back. So that was the upsetting thing. Now, the upsetting thing was not about me because I knew I'm an entrepreneur. I can get back on my feet and I'm going to open a new company. And, I had to take a break. For 6 months, I traveled. I took my bicycles and I cycled all the way from New York to Florida, to the Keys by myself to clear my mind. I did a lot of things that I had to do. So it wasn't easy times. I'm not saying it was like I walk in the park, not at all. But it was a huge mistake. I didn't prepare for a rainy day. And I didn't realize that when you go public, you no longer control the company. So even though you're the CEO on the chair, there's actually a board and there's actually bondholders who dictate. In the moment we hit some major bumps on the road because of timing and change of market in New York, they were not willing to work with us. And they said, oh, sorry, we're not willing to work with the way you see the company, and we're going to go a different route. That's very upsetting. So one mistake was that I completely gave control by becoming a public company. So again, no, I can spend the next, probably 4 days with you, giving you a list of mistakes I've made. But it's about what do you do after you make the mistake. First of all, take responsibility. One of the things that drive me crazy, people are not responsible for their mistakes. You are responsible. Take responsibility, share with us what you've done, what have you learned, and what have you done to fix that mistake, and let's move on. People are so scared of saying, I messed up. It's one of but it's insane to think that you're not going to mess up. If you're playing, going back to the example of the basketball in the playground, if you don't want to ever lose, then play against 5-year-old. It's going to be very easy and very boring. But if you want to play a big game, you're going to lose. So take responsibility, learn from it, and move on. Did I answer your question now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome, great. Who else? Bram, are you playing with a camera, or you're just raising your hand? I think you're playing with a camera. Okay.
I'll ask a question.
Oh, please.
So how do you gauge progress and knowing that you're moving in the right direction as opposed to maybe pivoting along your journey? And then a second question I had was, what was your most successful deal, whether that's profit or impact, and how did that happen? Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think anyone knows if you go in the right direction. Only time and results, not your feelings about it, okay, but actually results. Like there's more money. There was $100 in the bank today, and there's $150 tomorrow. That's a result. You can measure it, a measurable result. You and I know, because we worked together for many, many years, that we love Excels, because Excels don't lie, okay? Either the deal is effective or not effective. So I don't think you can know how it's going to turn out while you're in the process. What I recommend to do is create milestones. So instead of saying I'm going like 10K, path to successful, say check yourself every 1 kilometer. So you can check yourself as milestones on the way. And if you say, oh my gosh, look at that, I walked 30% of the way and I'm completely off, then it's time to pivot or change or drop. One of the, to connect to what Noah would ask earlier, I invested in a bed and breakfast in 2007. It was a beautiful, gorgeous place, upstate New York. It was a hotel plus a restaurant. It's absolutely beautiful. We lost our pants in it. Okay, we kept on losing money, and I didn't have the maturity to pull the plug. The place was so beautiful. Every time I said, okay, that's it. We're shutting it down. We're selling it. You know, I kind of, oh, there's so much potential. And I was so attached to the success of this place that I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars more than I should have lost if I just was disciplined enough to stop after 3 milestones, say, this is going the wrong way. Either you have to change manager completely or sell it. And that's, I think, the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs do. In the first deal or two they do, or the first business, they're so attached to they think that their success or their failure is a reflection on them. And it's very hard to disconnect. You can be a very successful person with many failures. And I think it comes with maturity. I don't have like some magic, words to give you. I think that you'll see how by the third time you fail, or by the third time you're actually doing something, successful or failure, you'll see that it's not about you. So, but there's a business, you can open a coffee shop, and COVID-19 comes, and it's not your fault. You didn't expect it. No one expected it, and they have to shut down, and send your employees home, and give the keys back to the landlord. It's something that was stronger than you, or you're too busy opening the second location. You neglected the first location. Now they're both closing. There's all those things. The key to it, and I think really it's a matter of experience, is to let go early in the process. So disconnect early in the process. That's one of the things, by the way, I learned with employees. I fired people fast, because with the years, I learned that it's not fair to me and to the employee to keep them around. So I gave them warning. I said, listen, what you're doing is not sufficient. We spoke about something, you're not delivering. I gave them what can I do to help you? How can I support you? But the moment I realized that it's no longer what they're passionate about or what they want to do and what I want is not the same, I send them home as soon as possible. It's not fair to both them and to you to keep your arm. The same with businesses. You're going to keep on losing money if you don't let go. So I think pivoting is only after you see there's no result, but you got to make sure that you check yourself ongoing. You don't say, I'm going to go for $1 million, and until I hit the $1 million, then I'm not, I'm not going to check myself on the way. You have to check yourself on the way. The second question you have, I think the biggest success is actually when it's not about money, and we made a lot of money during the years. Yes, there are deals where you flip a contract someone and you can make 6 figures or 7 figures even on a deal. That's amazing. But I think that the most extraordinary success is when a team celebrates something. So for me, for example, in real estate, sticking, it's a tradition in New York to stick a flag in the top of the building when you finish pouring the building. For me, being with the entire, we used to have this party, we used to have close the office, take everybody, go for lunch, and do like a simple catering on the top of the building when we finish pouring the concrete, which is a great celebration. Having our entire team on the roof there, having lunch together, that for me was always much more successful than actually if I pass a contract or sold something for a lot of profit, because money is great, and I'm not, but it's a tool to do something. And if you don't use the money, if you don't use the money to celebrate the people around you, the people you love, or support the organization you're passionate about, whether profit or not for profit, then what's the point, right? So for me, Bram, those are the much more memorable moments. That's one. And the other one is actually when you give, and then, so driving by a building I built and seeing lights and people living there, you see the families, like, big windows, you see like family with their kids, you're like, oh, I built those homes for them. That was for me much more exciting than actually if we got a check for X amount of money. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Or not. So, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being part of the team. I want to thank you for your time today. And I think both Sue and I are always available. I always tell my team that we have a lot of experience. So if you need guidance, support, help, connections, whatever you can, we will be there to support you, because you're part of the team and we're take care of you the way you're taking care of us. And I'm really thrilled that I had the opportunity to talk to you. And that's it. Sue, you want to say anything to wrap it up? You're on mute. You're on mute. We don't hear you.
Oh, I'm just sad that you're married, you know, the best ones are always taken. What can I tell you?
Don't be married. Most of you are way too young to be married. Later on, you could get married. Thank you. Have a great 4th of July weekend, and we'll speak very, very soon. Bye, everybody.